We are living in the 21st century, and still to this day, we haven't legalized what is often considered the world's oldest profession. And it makes no sense. Plenty of online commentators that I watch and a comedian here or there have correctly pointed out that it's dumb and you can't sell something that you can also give out for free. Hell, the argument has been made that on the base level, marriage is a form of legalized prostitution, but with extra steps. The only hardcore arguments made against legalizing sex work is from religion and feelings. Because of those two things, prostitution has not been made legal in the States other than one town in Nevada. And no, not Las Vegas. It's still technically illegal there too, shocking as it is. The United States still has a huge conservative culture that has a deep grip on policy in all 50 states, and it sucks. It's also why marijuana isn't legal on the federal level. So I'm going to throw in my 2 cents as to why prostitution should be legalized in all 50 states and to give good reasoning as to why, regardless of religious BS. I must bring back the argument that marriage is often considered legalized prostitution. Now, yes, that is hyperbolic, but there is some slight truth to that. And even if you are not married and just dating, you are paying for sex anyway. The differences are that in marriage, there is a government contract involved. In dating, you as a male often have to pay, but sex is not guaranteed. But in prostitution, it pretty much always is, so it's even more honest. If a man never paid money to enhance his sexual market value, and then never paid anything to go on a date with a woman, no food or drinks or gifts, then the likelihood of him ever getting laid is extremely minimal. Sure, there is a minority of genetically elite dudes out there who can get pussy anytime they want with just a text or phone call, but those again are the exceptions to the rule. Men have to pay money for sex one way or another. The benefit of prostitution in regards to that fact is that it is actually direct and honest, and both parties get what they want without deception or any other bullshit. I mean, just think about how expensive it is to get married. You got to spend a lot of money whining and dining her, buy her gifts, take her on a vacation trip or two, then buy her a ring, and that's just before the wedding day. If most men really just wanted their sexual needs met, then legalizing prostitution could help with that, because then they could save their money and get the poison out before making a huge legally binding mistake. That's probably another reason the government doesn't want to legalize it, because they know that the already suffering marriage industry will take another massive hit, but I'm only guessing with that. And there's also the issues of incels and camgirls. I don't want to dwell on this too long, but I must just briefly. If and when prostitution is made legal, then that could help cure the social issue that is inceldom. Not completely cure, but help. With outward public and indoor prostitution being illegal in all states, it poses a risk to virgin men who have money to spend on sex work but don't want to risk legal trouble. Now sure, the argument can be made that they can just go bang hookers in Thailand and Europe, but that's a bit extreme and even more expensive. Somebody shouldn't have to pay thousands of dollars for a plane ticket and hotels and then just pay even more money just for a night of sex when they can save costs and do it in their home country. And yes, I know incels don't just want sex, they want love and companionship. But I'm just saying, for the others that do just want to lose their virginity and wouldn't mind paying, this could benefit them. And then there is this pandemic of camgirls who get away with softcore sexual stuff online but don't have to do anything physical to get money from desperate men. A lot of guys say it's honest, but I only half agree with that, because I think it is due to prostitution not being legal and normalized that many desperate men are forced to pay for pictures and videos of online thoughts. It aggravates me because the men in those circumstances are victims in a small way and are not getting what they really want or pay for. I like to argue that these guys should save their money and focus on bettering themselves with education, fitness, and sex transmutation, but whatever, that's a separate topic. I've already touched on this in other videos. To sum this issue up, prostitution could help with the incel problem, and camgirls will be forced to do more online or physical prostitution themselves or just fade away into obscurity. Also, there are economic benefits of legalizing prostitution. Sex sells and generates revenue, so imagine making it legal on the federal level. Women and men can then do honest sex work, have police protection, and then pay taxes on the money they make, which will do more for the economy and social spending. I'm not saying it'll be a giant boom like what legalizing pot or transferring to new green renewable energy would do, but it could at the very least be an economic spike. It definitely wouldn't be a downturn, because all it could do is positively contribute more, even if just a small amount. I don't have the numbers on me as to how much the market of prostitution helps the economies in places where it is legal, but I'd bet that if it was made illegal and criminalized, it would cause downturns and recessions in the areas it served. Then there is the issue of healthcare and STD concerns. Well, with prostitution being illegal, it makes it harder for women to come forward if they do catch something, and healthcare treatment isn't exactly cheap in the United States. I mean, shit, our healthcare system is pretty much a meme across the globe. So whether Medicare for All gets implemented or not, I have a solution. Once prostitution is made legal, give registered sex workers the right to free STD checkups all year, every year. Easy. That way, if they catch something or are suspicious that they have, they can go get checked out for free and have it treated. And I'd even include that any STD they may or may not have should be made public knowledge to their customers. Like if a guy really wants to get it on with one hooker in particular, and he's concerned that she may have an STD, he can look her up. He can look up her public profile, since she'll be registered hopefully, and he can find out immediately before going in. Now, the specifics of that will be complicated, and I don't want to get into that because, then I'll have to talk about registration for sex workers, for them to legally do their work, legal ramifications if they don't register, unionization and all that stuff. Prostitutes are going to need a form of free STD healthcare is the point I am making. Like always, I'll include a couple videos down below that inspired me to make this video. One of which is with DeFranco, who talked about what happened during the period when prostitution was somewhat legalized in Rhode Island. A point he brought up is that the police leaving the brothels and massage parlors alone, they were able to divert their resources to go out and handle actual crimes. When they did harass sex worker establishments, that could have meant that robberies and murders being committed elsewhere were not their focus as it should have been. Legalizing prostitution, as I mentioned earlier, would also mean sex workers get police protection because it is now a legit form of business. If a client physically assaults them or rapes them, they no longer have to remain quiet out of fear of legal ramifications. So it's a win-win basically. You have to wonder how many sex workers have been hurt or raped and not come forward because they are scared and can't without punishment, and how many legitimate crimes have been committed during the time police have focused on cracking down on prostitution. It doesn't have to be that way. There's also studies and claims that sex trafficking will also go down as a result of legalizing prostitution, which takes the industry off the black market. But it'll ensure police are able to focus their attention more on the particular dark area of the sex industry and make them more effective in combating it. To conclude this all, prostitution should be legalized on the federal level. Now, does that mean the right to publicly solicit or just indoor private operation? I'm not sure because I won't be making the laws and the rules, obviously. In my opinion, it should be zoned into districts if allowed to be in public, like only certain streets and alleys where hookers can be out and about soliciting that way. It's not just anywhere like near a school or church. I would also like to see it regulated in a way that makes prostitutes register themselves as sex workers. That way they can be kept under watch for the risks of, that come with that job and get benefits like police protection and healthcare, but also to pay taxes on the work they get. Now, that's no silver bullet plan because there will also be some women who will occasionally work under the table to get money or get money for sex without government knowledge. For example, a woman can put it out there to her workplace or community that if a guy pays for her rent for the next month or two, she'll fuck him. In that instance, she won't be registered or pay taxes on the financial compensation she received, but it's probably a waste of time to focus on the outliers. Just make prostitution legal, because it's dumb not to, and people are going to engage in it anyway. And as always, whether you agree or disagree, comment below. Adios.